Hello! Today we're going to be showing you how to properly clean your resin model parts. Now for the example here, we've got the Caladius Grav Tank from Forge World. Is a relatively new model. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to have a bowl, or you can use a sink, a towel or drying rack, ideally a towel because there's going to be many small parts like these and you don't want them to go missing, some dishwashing liquid, an old toothbrush, obviously your model, and some warm water. Now what I've done is, because I'm not in the kitchen area, it's actually easier to do this cleaning sitting down instead of standing up. So that's why I've got the tea kettle upstairs, and I've got some cold water just in case. Just in case it's too hot. I don't think it'll be too hot though. So first thing we're going to do is get the water ready, and we want warm soapy water is the important thing here. So we'll get some, that's probably too much washing up liquid, but we'll go with it. So we don't want this boiling hot, so if you do use the kettle, don't let it come to a full boil. Just stick your hand on the side of it like this, and if you can keep your thumb there or finger there for a second or two, you'll be okay. This is a little bit too hot, so I'm just going to add some cold water because I knew I'd need to. This is just an old windshield or windscreen washing liquid jug that is very handy, and I just use it upstairs for all my water storage needs. So that's pretty warm, but we don't need to soak these really. So, and away we go. So what this does is, basically it removes all the mold release from the surface of the model, and it lets the primer and paint stick to it properly, and also the glue, which is very important because you don't want your model to fall apart when you're picking it up. The wargaming models, compared to like static models and display models like you would get from like not action figures, but like superhero figure models like you get from a comic shop. No one really picks those up and moves them around quite as much as, anywhere near as much as you would with the wargaming model. The other thing this allows you to do is do a final check and make sure that there's no like major imperfections with the model. You can also have a look at things like this bit here, which you'll need to cut away and fix, and also on the same side there, these casting gates and these little, like, these, technically they're casting gates, but it's kind of a shim sort of thing. Just want to keep an eye on that, and so you know what you need to sort out when the time comes to assemble the model. So we're going to do the rest of these big pieces, and we'll come to the small pieces in just a moment. Okay, so as you can see, we've finished washing these. They still need a rinse because they do have soapy water on them, but we're going to do the small pieces now. And this is the same with any resin kit that you might get. Basically, you generally have all the big pieces and all the small pieces kept separate. So now we've got small pieces like this, and handily on a nice thick casting gate, and like that, very chunky. But the bits that you have to be careful for are pieces like this. It's a perfect example. And like this, and guns and clips and hoses and things like that. This particular model doesn't have very many hoses, or any hoses that stick out. So You don't have to worry about that, but on the upgrade kits from Forge World, you do have to keep an eye out for that. Excess flashing like this, go ahead and clean it, and if you can, dislodge it. No, that's just going to knock the piece off. So you just have to be careful. Do each piece by itself, do it over the sink, or, well, ideally over a bowl like this. So if you do drop a piece, it goes into the water and is caught. And then set it aside and just keep an eye out. If it does come off, like this one will, so that piece will be just kind of be floating on its own. And when you come to assemble the kit, you're like, oh wow, this am I missing those pieces? No, you're not, because you have to remember that this piece is there. Okay, so we're going to finish the rest of these and carry on. So one thing that you may come across while you're doing these, and it might save a little bit of time later on, is that if a piece is warped, now there aren't any warped pieces on this particular model, but it is a common thing. Actually, yeah, so like this piece is a little bit warped. That's going to be a bit difficult to glue onto the base, which is this piece. So, because it's not perfectly flat, I mean, you'll be able to glue it on, but, you know, if you basically, you can use the warm water and just let it sit in there while you clean another piece. And let it sit in there for several seconds. This piece might be a little bit big to clean while that's waiting. And then go ahead and pick this up, and now that piece is going to be quite pliable, a lot more flexible than it was. Okay, so you can use the heat of the water, which isn't very hot, to, you know, just do some minor tweaking. Usually on these Forge World kits or any model resin model kit, these might be warped. You might have a banana shaped gun, and you can just let that sit in the water and then bend it gently, and then just make sure and keep an eye on it and make sure it doesn't bend back, because if it is, that means the inner part of the plastic is still a little bit too cold and it's pulling the gun back into shape, or the wing, or whatever it is. So just make sure it's warm all the way through. I like water to do the warpage fixing, so we'll cover that in the next video, just in case. Okay. So anyway, we'll carry on with the rest of the cleaning. Okay, so that is it. We've cleaned all the parts. Everything's been washed in warm, soapy water. And now the nice thing about having all of this stuff on a towel is not only do you not lose the small parts, is that you can take the towel to your kitchen or your bathroom sink and just rinse all the soapy water off. Again, make sure you hang on to those small pieces. Don't use like jets of water coming out of your faucet. So that is it. That is how to clean your resin model. Remember, warm soapy water, old toothbrush, just normal dishwashing soap is all you need. This is just straight from the kitchen, and a towel to lay everything on. Make sure you give every surface a good wipe, and there you go. That's it for cleaning your resin model kits. So if you enjoy this video or found it informative, please give us a like down there. So you can subscribe down there. There's plenty of other videos on, you can watch the unboxing of this particular kit and other Forge World and many other model kits actually in the channel. If you subscribe, you'll get all the notifications for that. Please look for us online on Facebook, on Instagram, TPS Painting Studio on Instagram, and Tiny Plastic Spaceman everywhere else. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed the video. We'll catch you in the next model tip series, and thanks for watching.